These are the notes for 5.3, Solving Systems with Elimination. The mathematic principle we're going to be working with is pretty basic. So you just want to keep in mind that if 3 minus 3 equals 0, then 3x minus 3x also equals 0. Okay? So we're going to be combining opposites here. We have a positive 3 and a negative 3, and when we combine them we get 0. We have a positive 3x and a negative 3x, and when we combine them we get 0. Solving with elimination means that you will be eliminating one of the variables by making them opposites. Then you can add the equations together and solve for the remaining variable. After finding the value of the first variable, you use substitution to solve for the other variable. This step we've done a lot. You've been working with substitution. It's the elimination with opposites that's going to be new. The first step is to look for two terms that are opposites. So here I have 2x plus y equals 4 and 2x minus y equals 0. So my terms are a 2x, a positive y, and down here I have a 2x and a negative y. I see that I have a positive y and a negative y. These two terms are opposites. Okay? Step 2, add the equations. So we're basically going to be doing an addition problem straight across the board with all three terms. So I'm going to add these two together. I'm going to add 2x plus 2x, and that gives me 4x. My positive y and negative y cancels out, so that would equal 0. I bring down my equal sign, and I add 4 plus 0 equals 4. This is a one-step equation. You're going to solve this one through division. Divide both sides by 4. And I get x equals 1, because these cancel out, and 4 divided by 4 equals 1. Now that I found my value for x, I'm going to substitute. Anywhere I have an x, I'm going to place a 1, and then I'm going to solve. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus y equals 4. I'm going to subtract 2 from the left, subtract 2 from the right, and now I have my other variable y. So x equals 1, y equals 2, which makes my ordered pair 1, 2. Let's try a couple together. Solve with elimination. So step 1, you want to look for opposites. So I've got 3x minus y equals 4. So my terms are 3x, negative y, positive 4. 3x, positive y, positive 2. My 3x's are not opposites because they're both positive. But I do have a negative y and a positive y, which makes them opposite. So I can go ahead and start eliminating. So I'm going to add my two equations. 3x plus 3x is 6x. Negative y, positive y cancels out. Bring down the equals. 4 plus 2 equals 6. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 6. This cancels out. I get x equals 1. Now that I have one of my variables, I'm going to use that and substitute that into one of my equations. And I'm going to use the second one. So I'm going to do 3x plus y equals 2. Substitute for x. 3 parentheses 1 plus y equals 2. 3 times 1 is 3 plus y equals 2. Subtract 3 from the left, subtract 3 from the right, y equals negative 1. So my ordered pair is going to be 1, negative 1. The second equation is a little bit trickier, so let's take a look at this one. I've got 3x minus y equals 14, and 3x minus 4y equals negative 16. So my terms are positive 3x, negative y, positive 14, positive 3x, negative 4y, and negative 16. I don't have any opposites, but what I do have are two terms that have the same coefficient. So these are the ones that I'm going to work with. What I need to do is change one of them to the opposite. So I'm going to take my first equation, 3x minus y equals 14. And to change it to the opposite, I'm going to use the distributive property, and I'm going to multiply the whole equation times negative 1. So I'm going to multiply negative 1 times 3x, negative 1 times negative y, and negative 1 times 14. So negative 1 times 3x is negative 3x. Negative 1 times negative y is positive y. And negative 1 times 14 is negative 14. So I'm going to use my transformed equation where I now have opposites. So I'm going to bring down my 3x minus 4y equals negative 16. And now I've got two opposites here, negative 3x and positive 3x, which means these are going to cancel out, and I'm going to get 0. Now I've got positive y minus 4y, which is a negative 3y, equals negative 14 minus 16 is negative 30. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3. Let me bring my screen up here a little bit. Oops. We'll just bring that up. There we go. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 cancels out. I get y equals negative 30 divided by negative 3 is positive 10. So I get y equals 10, and now I'm going to substitute. I'm going to use one of my equations here, and I'm going to substitute y for 10. So 3x minus y equals 14. 3x minus 10 equals 14. Add 10. Add 10. This cancels out. You get 3x equals 24. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. And you get x equals 8. So your terms are 8, 10. And here's your solution.